So, one of my viewers named Nickwin gave me a heads up via comment that apparently you can get the option to sleep with both Astarion and Gale, given you have flirted with him in the Weave scene beforehand. It's funny because on my first game, I was really torn between Astarion and Gale because they were both really awesome. My very first camp celebration, I actually accepted Astarion's invitation first, and then when I found out Gale was going to make his confession, I thought, man, I need to see it, during the intimate scene. It's going to be awesome. Little did I know it was going to be ruined by all the Mystra talk. Alas, I ended up making a new character and romanced Astarion with her, because I thought I didn't want to ruin the replay value by watching the romance with Astarion and my tiefling on the same playthrough. So before I start playing the scenes, the way you do this is to activate the Weave scene first. And it seems to be reliant on clearing the ruins and other areas around there to get his trigger to go off. I rest often too, and I try not to progress his approval too quickly. When you get the Weave scene, make sure you flirt with Gale, either by imagining you two holding hands or even kissing. Given you're also at a decent approval rating with Astarion, you know about him being a vampire and all, and in my case I usually let him bite me, but I don't know if that's necessary, just thought it was worth mentioning in case anyone was having trouble. When you get to the celebration, you can play things out like normal. Feel free to skip ahead with these scenes if you don't want to watch them all. I'll put links down below in the info section. I wanted to include the whole scene, though, for those who wanted to see the dialogue without doing it themselves. So, let's get started. First talk to Astarion and make plans to spend the night together.
You know, I never pictured myself as a hero. Never thought I'd be the one they'd toast for saving so many lives. And now that I'm here, I hate it. This is awful. True. That was fun. Still, I would have liked more for my trouble than a pat on the head and vinegar for wine.
It's a heavy, rich red, dry and sharp.
See what I mean? Awful. All I want is a little fun. Is that so much to ask? Nothing so dramatic. Just you and me and, well, maybe a little death. Figuratively speaking. Let's wait until things quieten down. Once the others are asleep, we'll find each other. Indeed you will, my love. Indeed you will.
Now head next door and talk to Gale.
Thank you. There's that confidence I like. I thank you for seeking me out. Amidst all this merriment, I wasn't sure we'd have a chance to speak this evening. More's the pity you've already found someone else to make merry with. Just the two of you. He has a certain charm about him, Astarion. Then again, so does a tiger when it purrs. Far be it from me, of course, to question your tastes. Caught on to that, did you? Might be the wine talking. As they say in Waterdeep, in wine there is truth. That's usually followed by, in water there is good sense. Good sense will have to wait till tomorrow. But before you go, I know there are many things about me that remain shrouded in mystery. You've been very patient with me, and I appreciate that. You've given me powerful magic to consume when I needed it most. You know of my condition, and you know about my unfortunate efforts to win Mistra's favor. But those are but the broad strokes. The time has come to paint you the true picture. I can only hope my tale will live up to your expectations. Tonight, of course, we celebrate, and I won't keep you any longer. Tomorrow night, though, you're in for quite the bedtime story.
Gale's not too happy about you going off with Astarion, but he'll make plans to talk with you the next night about his confession, of what's been wrong with him, why he needs all the magical artifacts and whatnot. Now go to sleep and have your night with Astarion.
There you are. I've been waiting. Waiting since the moment I set eyes on you. Waiting to have you. Don't I? You're here. And I don't think you want to talk. I think You want to be known, to be tasted. What do any of us want? Pleasure. Yours, mine, our collective ecstasy. That's what you want, isn't it? To lose yourself in me. I thought so.
His skin is cool to the touch, his kiss bracing. You lean in, and he pulls you closer.
It's a poem, a gift from Cazador. He considered himself quite the artist and used his slaves as a canvas. He composed and carved that one over the course of a night. He made a lot of revisions as he went. Infernal? Who knows? The bastard was insane. Anyway, enough pillow talk. Let's go before the tieflings drag us into another mess.
Take a look at the new and improved atmosphere of his scene now. There's no more storing people in the background, and you've been moved from the camp to the woods. Pretty cool. This tiefling tag about the poem being written in Infernal is pretty awesome, and new information that I hadn't seen before. The rest of the quest will play out as normal when you talk to Halsin and continue on your way with the story. Make sure to actually go out and kill some things to make the time pass properly. I killed a bunch of gnolls and then went back to camp, and Gale's quest was available. I did try to skip ahead though, and without fighting it wasn't there. When you get to camp, talk to Gale, who should have the yellow exclamation point over his head.
Ah, good evening to you. I take it you're here to pick me up on that bedtime story you were promised. Actually, before we move on to the story, there's something I'd like you to consider. You spent the other night with someone else, and I hope it was all you wanted it to be, but we shared a romantic moment of the mind while cloaked in the weave, didn't we? And I seem to recall a fond allusion to that moment afterwards. Allow me to make the following proposition. There's a book that circulates in Arm, detailing the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation, the art of taste, time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body, the exploration and acceptance of the self and the other, the art of the night itself. I say, we take a page from their book. I'm many things, but coy's not one of them. What do you say? That's because I'm full of delights. We'll let the night run its course. And when everything is quietening down, safe in the arms of sleep, I'll come by and find safety in yours.
So Gale is not ready to let you go so easily. I don't know if it's admirable or sleazy, but here it is nonetheless. He just comes right out and says you should sleep with him, even knowing you're with Astarion. How scandalous. At first it felt kinda scuzzy accepting his proposal, but for the sake of making this exchange work, I agreed. But I also made sure I saved and went back to see what would happen if you say no.
We take a page from their book. I see. He's a lucky man. Loyalty is such a very rare commodity. Apologies. I really did think you and but no. Perhaps it's for the better. In fact, I'll let you be the judge of that. After all, I still have a story to tell.
Wow. I mean, I really didn't expect that. For one, Gale looks completely dejected over this. He looks so freaking sad. I have to admit I was feeling kind of bad by now. And it's also very interesting to note that he mentions how loyalty is a rare commodity. It makes me think of Mistra big time since that was one of his main relationships, you know? I have to mention here as well that I have taken my commitment to these characters seriously, even going so far as to completely nerd out and buy D&D books. Yes, I bought the full 5-book Avatar series that, from what I'm told, covers the whole Wizard of Waterdeep arc, and apparently helps clear up some of this Mistress story. But I said I didn't want spoilers at all, so I don't know how much it's going to uncover. I do plan on making a video on it whenever the heck I finish them though, so that will be interesting to maybe shed more light on this story. It makes you wonder though, did Mystra cheat on him? Or maybe she cheated on her lover with him? Still, he goes on to say that he really thought you two had a connection, and he had to push the topic to make sure. And to be fair, you had literally just spent one night with Astarion. Maybe he thought it wasn't that serious and wanted to try one last time before it did become serious. Getting back to the scenes though, there is still one last bit to play, and that's the actual going to bed part.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Need something, or did you just miss me?
Well, that's a bummer, huh? I was hoping for more, but they haven't put it together yet. I wonder why they didn't just completely copy the original scene with Gale. It's kind of cool to think that you'll get a completely new scene just for going about it in this way though, huh? What's even more disconcerting is that nobody seems to be the wiser to it. Astarion still talks to me as though we're together, and well, Gale never talks to you any differently. But there's no option to bring it up with anyone. I would have liked to see a knife fight in the parking lot style scene where both Astarion and Gale are pissed off and yelling at each other. In fact, I have to say I'm very excited to see what they'll do for this scenario when they finish it because, woohoo, it's dramatic. I'm sitting over here eating a big old tub of popcorn like, yes, yes, fight over me. I know, I'm ridiculous. Still, it's really cool to see that you can do this, and thanks again to Nick for pointing it out to me. I have to say, even though I went with Gale on this game, I still felt really bad cheating on Astarion. I just know when they finish the scene he's going to be all hurt and wounded, and I'm going to feel bad. I think this sort of thing lends to the possibility of having a lot of choice in how you go about dealing with your companions, though. I've noticed in dialogue with others that you can say things like, oh, I'm just here to have fun, or maybe we can sleep together another time. I wonder if there will be more options in Act 2 to sleep with someone else if you're not satisfied with who you're with. Have you guys found any other companions that do this, or is Gale the only one? Very cool, and very much looking forward to what changes they're going to make to the alternate scene with Gale. Thanks again for watching, guys. See ya!